Nobody talks about the first $100,000 the right way. Everyone is obsessed with the $1 million exit, the passive income lifestyle, the yacht, the private jet, the highlight reel of someone who already made it. But here is what every single one of those people knows and almost nobody ever says out loud. None of it was possible until the first $100,000 was sitting in the bank. Not revenue, not gross income, not money that passed through their hands on the way to someone else. Money that stayed. Because the first $100,000 is not just a number. It is the exact moment your entire relationship with the world changes. It is the first time you stop doing mental math on whether you can afford groceries. It is the first time you stop lying awake calculating whether rent is going to clear. It is the first time you can actually think about your future instead of spending every ounce of mental energy surviving your present. But here is the brutal truth that most people never hear and almost nobody is willing to say directly to your face. You are never going to bank your first $100,000 living the way you are living right now. Not because you are not capable. Not because the opportunity is not out there. But because every dollar that comes in is walking straight back out the door. And until you understand exactly why that is happening and build a plan to stop it, nothing else you do matters. So today we are going to build that plan. 6 steps. No fluff. No theory. The exact roadmap to banking your first $100,000. Not earning it, not generating it, not watching it pass through your account. Actually keeping it. And we are going to start with the step that most people skip because it is the most uncomfortable and the most important thing you will ever do on this journey. Step 1. Cut everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Not most things. Not the obvious stuff. Everything. Food comes from a discount grocery store or it does not come at all. You cook it. You prep it. You eat what you have. Eating out is gone, not reduced, gone. Clothing is whatever you already own and it will stay that way for the next 2 years with no exceptions. You are not building a wardrobe right now. You are building a future. Housing is as cheap as humanly possible. Ideally, you are living with family. If not, you are living with roommates, people who are ideally also trying to build something, who understand why the Friday night going out conversation is not happening, who get it. And your car is either paid off completely or as cheap as it can possibly be. No car payment eating $300 or $400 every single month on a depreciating asset while you are trying to build something from zero. Now I know what this sounds like. It sounds like deprivation. It sounds like suffering. It sounds like shrinking your life down to nothing and calling it a strategy. But here is what it actually is. It is the most powerful financial move available to someone who is starting from zero because it does one specific thing that nothing else can do. It creates cash flow. Right now, today, before you learn a single new skill or start a single business, you have a gap between what comes in and what goes out. And for most people, that gap is zero or negative. Every dollar in immediately becomes a dollar out. The goal of step 1 is to widen that gap by attacking the outflow side as aggressively as possible. Because until you have a gap, until you have money that does not immediately disappear, you have nothing to deploy, nothing to invest, nothing to take risk with. And without the ability to take risk, you cannot generate the kind of returns that actually move the needle. Step 2 is your time. And this is where most people make the mistake of thinking they do not have enough of it. You have more time than you think. If you work a 9-to-5 job, you have a 5 to 9 in the morning and a 5 to 9 at night. That is 4 hours every single day that belong entirely to you. 4 hours that most people hand directly to their phone, to social media, to television, to whatever passive consumption feels good in the moment. Those 4 hours, treated with the seriousness they deserve, are your entire future. They are the difference between where you are right now and where you want to be. But the key word is treated with the seriousness they deserve. Because 4 distracted, interrupted, half-focused hours are worth almost nothing. 4 locked in, completely present, single-tasked hours are worth more than most people's entire work week. And here is the principle that changes everything about how you use that time. Focus is not something you add. It is something you uncover when you remove everything else. You do not become focused by trying harder. You become focused by eliminating every possible source of distraction from your environment during the hours that matter. Phone goes away. Notifications go off. The door closes. You pick one thing and you work on that one thing until the time block ends. That is it. That is the entire secret. And the way you structure those hours matters enormously. Think of your time in 3 buckets. Promotion, letting people know what you do and what you offer, because if nobody knows about it, nobody can pay for it. Delivery, giving the people who did pay you exactly what you promised them at the highest possible standard. And building, figuring out what comes next, what opportunities exist, and which one deserves your next dollar and your next hour. Promote, deliver, build. Everything you do in those 4 hours every day should fall into one of those 3 categories. If it does not, it is a distraction wearing the costume of productivity. So now you have freed up money and freed up time. But potential energy sitting idle builds nothing. It needs direction. Step 3. Research one skill that people are already paying for right now. Not something that might be valuable someday. Something someone is actively pulling their wallet out for today. Look at what businesses spend money on. Content, advertising, sales, copywriting. Every one of those is a standalone path to $100,000. Pick one. One skill, one customer, one channel. Drive it until it works. The biggest reason most people never get there is not lack of effort. It is effort scattered across too many directions at once, with none of them getting enough concentrated attention to actually produce a result. Step 4 is learning. But real learning, not consuming. Watching videos about running ads is not learning how to run ads. Learning has one definition. Same situation, new behavior. If nothing about what you do changes after consuming content, you did not learn anything. You just felt productive. Do the thing 100 times. Look at what the top 10% of results have in common. Do more of that. Cut what the bottom 90% are doing. Repeat. That is the entire formula for getting good at anything fast. Step 5. Spend money in the right places. Tools that save you time. Tutoring or courses that compress your learning curve. And actual attempts. Putting money into trying things, failing, adjusting, and going again. Failure with honest analysis is not waste. It is the feedback that tells you exactly what to fix next time. And step 6 is the one that destroys people who were right on the edge of making it. Do not touch your lifestyle. The moment money starts coming in, every instinct will push you toward upgrading everything. Resist it completely. You want to be rich, not look rich. Every dollar redirected from savings into lifestyle upgrades is a dollar no longer building toward the number that changes everything. Stay in the cheap room. Drive the paid-off car. Bank every dollar you possibly can until you hit it. Because when you finally do, when you look at your account and see that number sitting there untouched, something shifts that is almost impossible to describe until you have experienced it. You stop thinking about tomorrow. You stop doing survival math every time you check your balance. You start thinking in years instead of weeks. You start seeing opportunities instead of threats. That is what the first 100,000 actually buys you. Not the things it can purchase. The mental freedom to finally stop playing defense with your life and start playing offense. And that is the only foundation strong enough to build everything that comes after it.